here on WLTH 1370 AM. That number is 219-885-1371. I am Scott Cannon. Over there is Reverend Delwyn Campbell. And I think we're about to step in a little bit because we're going to get into a very controversial topic. So let me just say this. If your feelings are easily rattled, you should probably tune out now.
Or just,
Yeah.
open up a can of an adult beverage that will calm your nerves.
Right.
Take a sip.
Right.
Sit back in your sofa and just listen for a moment.
Right.
Don't let your emotions
Right.
rule your response.
Right.
Listen, think it through, and then give us something useful.
Right. Don't call with the ad hominem attacks. Like this, for some reason, this particular issue, which if you look at what voters find important in terms of especially black people and working class people, this issue is always way down on the list. And I'm talking about abortion, folks. Roe v. Wade, abortion rights have been upended in the state of Texas. And so you've seen everyone up in arm on social media because abortion rights are now squarely on the chopping blocks after the U.S. Supreme Court refused to stop the most restrictive anti-abortion law in the country from going into effect. The Texas law prohibits abortion after the 6th week of pregnancy. And as you know, most women don't even know they're pregnant during the first 6 weeks. What's more, if an abortion is performed after the 6th week, any citizen in the country, not just Texas, but in the entire country, can sue anyone who helps facilitate the abortion for $10,000 plus attorney's fees. That means someone could not only sue the clinic, but the Uber driver who took the woman to the facility, a friend who made the call to the clinic on the woman's behalf, a counselor who advised the woman, the spouse of the woman, etc. The Supreme Court was asked to put the law on ice on Tuesday night before it went into effect at midnight, but SCOTUS chose not to do anything, and in this case, silence speaks volumes. If the justices did not feel this law squarely violated Roe v. Wade, it's a loud screaming signal about their feelings towards the law. There are 5 justices, possibly 6, who have strongly indicated that they would be inclined to overturning Roe versus Wade, and they will have a shot at that pretty soon because a Mississippi anti-abortion law is a direct challenge to the 1973 precedent that gives women the right to an abortion. For now, Roe v. Wade is effectively not the law of the land in Texas, where abortion clinics cannot exist at this point, and its fate now hangs in the balance. Look, I'm just going to say this, folks. Look, I'm generally just on the margins, generally pro-choice. I'm not going to march in the streets about abortion one way or the other, okay? If you look at the issues that are important to black people, to working class people, abortion is way down on the list, okay? Liberals, particularly white women, white liberals particularly, have made this issue the most important issue in the history of the world, okay? The idea that killing fetuses is more important than healthcare, than ending wars, the prison industrial complex, than jobs, there's so many issues in this country. Immigration, like the quality of life that human beings will face in this country, abortion is way down on that list of issues that will determine the quality of life of us here in the city of Gary. Okay, let's just say Roe v. Wade was overturned. Is that going to change what happens to the Genesis Center across the street over there?
Not a thing.
Not a thing. It won't do anything. It won't bring any more jobs to Gary. Those are the things that citizens actually care about. But because the media is run by the liberal elites in New York and California, these people who don't care about whether we get jobs here in the city of Gary, people who don't care about healthcare, people who don't care about the war complex, or the fact that black men are the most incarcerated people on earth. They have used this issue for 30 years as a wedge issue to divide the working class, essentially. Right. You have the conservative working class go with the Republicans over it. You have the liberal working class go with when ultimately this like I said, I'm generally pro-choice, but Jesus, like the amount of harassment those of us who are third-party voters have faced over the last few days because Texas did this is so disproportionate to the effect that this will have on the lives of average working class people. I don't know what to do. Rev, go ahead, take it.
All right. Here's an interesting element to it. One of the things that has played out ever since Roe versus Wade was the situation when the woman tells the man she's pregnant,
Right.
and he's happy.
Mhm.
And then she says, I don't want the baby.
Right.
And he says, I will take care of you. I'll help with the medical expenses,
Right.
and I'll help you with the baby.
Mhm.
And she says, I don't want the baby. And then he says, all right, I'll take the baby. And then she says, I don't want the baby. And that's the end of the story.
Right.
Because the legal narrative has always been her body,
Her choice.
her choice.
Right.
The baby's body, the man's contribution to the existence of the baby's body had no weight until now.
Mm-hmm.
Because thanks to this law, now that man can threaten to sue.
Right.
He can threaten to sue in
Yeah.
order to preserve the life of his child.
Right.
And he has equal standing to her.
That sounds like feminism to me. That sounds like all that equality a lot of liberals are always talking about. Let's get to this caller. Hello, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good
Another
evening.
lady. I'm happy that
Well, I've got about 5 petitions that I need to sign. They've asked me to sign them.
Okay.
And I got one Republican, Victoria Sparks. She's supposed to have gotten in scarcely. She's a Republican. I'm not even going to address this.
Okay.
Because I'm not a Republican.
Right.
You should know that by now. But anyway, on Roe versus Wade, I'm not going to answer anything. I think it's left up to the woman
Right.
and her family. I don't think we
I can
should
respect
even
that. Fine.
intercede in that. Why? It does. I mean, a woman has the right to choose what she wants to do with her body.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And no one denies that. The question has always been, and a question that I feel has never been addressed, if this is a living human being, what right does it have?
Well,
If the man has a responsibility, should the woman decide to keep the child, he has a responsibility under the law,
true.
whether he wants to or not. The law says he must help take care of that child.
Yep.
And
Well,
up
the thing-
until this moment, he
Well,
had
I
no
said-
legal, nothing.
I just said that it's up to the family, and the family includes the male too.
Except legally, it doesn't.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't want to be involved, then that's his business.
No, he has no choice,
Yeah.
whether he
doesn't.
wants to or not. If she
Well-
decides to keep the child, he's on the hook. If she decides she doesn't want the child, he cannot even offer to take care of it himself.
Well, there's still a decision that she can make.
It's
It's
Only her. The man has no rights whatsoever.
Well, if they have a relationship and they have fostered a child, he should be involved in it.
Right.
So that's why I said leave it to the family. Nobody else should intercede. No way, no how. It's up to the woman, the both persons that conceived the child, the male as well as the female, and both of their families, and however they want to settle. That's their business.
But how do you do that without a law like
Social
this?
Security. I got Social Security, and I've also got one about they want to protect it, and then I've got one on another matter. Oh, male couples or female couples, homosexuals. I got one on that. I got one on something else around here.
How you get all these petitions?
Well, they send them to me. They want my opinion.
Wow. Okay.
They're not the only ones. I give opinions on books too, and quite a few things.
Okay. Do they pay you?
Well, they do as far as the books and everything. Yeah, some of them do.
Because I've tried to get in those things with the Schlesinger.
Yeah, some of them do send you money, and
Yeah.
some also ask you for money.
Yeah.
This woman act like I'm rich. She's asking me to send her I think she starts with $1,900.
Yeah.
She goes up and down.
Yeah.
And
Tell her until
I'm getting ready to cut this one up.
tell her until she comes in here and campaign, she's not getting a dime.
I don't know nothing about it. I don't even know how she got to me either. But I've gotten something from Biden, and I've also gotten something from Trump's people.
Oh.
But the thing of it is, you know what? I feel sorry for Biden. He has got so much on his plate that I feel sorry for him. I'm 100% behind him. I see what they have told me is his popularity is down to 43%.
Oh,
but one way or the other, I feel sorry for him.
Well, he fixed the plate, so he wanted the
true.
meal.
That's true.
Well, I think I thought that it should have been settled under Obama's administration. And then people have heard me say, I don't think 9/11 should have existed. They're going to have it on TV, in the next few days on 9/11. Right. Anyway, I just called to tell you, it's up to the family. Both sides of the family can have give them respect to do what they want to do with their own child.
All right.
I'm going to hang up. Everybody have a God bless day.
We got another caller. Hello, caller.
Pastor Campbell.
Yep.
I agree with you 100%. 100%. This is finally a chance where a male can get a chance to say what happens with the people. Because there have been so many situations to where women, I'm not saying all, but some women, will take a child and use them as a pawn.
Yeah.
That has happened.
I was in a situation to where one of my sons was born, and the mother got mad with me and moved out of the state. Didn't know where she was for 9 years. Couldn't contact her, couldn't find her family, wouldn't tell me nothing. But the reason I found out where she was, she got on welfare. And they found me within 2 weeks. And told me I owed back child support. I said, okay, I'm going to get a lawyer, and I'm going to have my lawyer fight for visitation, and we're going to go with that route. The visitation took longer than for the child support. They didn't care if I saw the child or not.
Nope.
All I wanted was, I didn't have to pay the child support, but I ended up having to pay child support. And you get women out here that will say, hey, I don't need you.
Yep.
And will keep a child. And see, the first thing my attorney told me after not seeing my child for it took 11 years. Don't worry. The first thing you got to worry about is what has she been telling him all these 11 years?
Yep.
Yeah.
What has she been telling him? And when I saw my son, he was so mad with me, told me I didn't try hard enough to find him.
Yeah.
And he was just totally upset. Right now, he's 31 years old. I talk to him every now and then, but the relationship, he was already set in his heart that his daddy didn't want him. And that's what happened when a lot of these situations come up when they say, oh, these men ain't raising their kids. It's because these mamas get mad because they not with the daddy no more. So I'm going to turn your child against you.
Wow.
And then by the time the child find out that, hey, it wasn't daddy's fault, it was mama's fault, it's locked in his head already that, hey, my daddy didn't want me. And that's what she told him. Your daddy didn't want you, that's why we left. I didn't want her as a companion at the time.
Right.
But a father to my child, I always wanted. But I'm just so glad now it's finally a chance. And I understand what they say is a woman's body. She gets to do what she wants. But when do a man ever get a chance to say, hey, if you don't want the child, do the 9 months, I'll take my child. And they make sure it's all in black and white paper and everything. Because believe me, after those 9 months, the first thing she going to say is, I want my baby now.
Right.
Just like, you know how some people will get a surrogate mother for their child, and they'll pay for all the prenatal care.
Right.
I have seen that in court a couple of times where the person say, okay, when the baby's born, the baby's yours. And by the time that 7 to 8 months come, the next thing you know, the person said, no, I want to keep my baby now. Okay, y'all have a good night. But Pastor Campbell, I'm with you 100% on this.
Wow. I'm so, one of the reasons I love to do this show is because of situations like this. I had never even thought of the perspective that you and the caller have brought up. I've never even thought about it from that perspective. you guys are, I believe, 100% right. The same people talk about my body, my choice, give the man zero opportunity to essentially do the same thing, and not just take the child. If a woman can essentially decide, I want to cut bait with this child and face no type of legal consequences of that, which is what basically terminating the child is, then how is that fair if a man can't do exactly the same thing? Like, the man can't say, I don't want nothing to do with this child. If they found out you made it, and even here is the crazy thing, the way that child support works in this country, if your wife cheats on you and gets pregnant by another man while she's married to you, you're still considered the father. Even if some other guy, even if Joe Blow down the street is the one who got your wife pregnant, you still are on the hook for child support. Okay?
Yeah.
For 18, 21 years for a kid that's not even biologically yours. So the way the system works is the woman can essentially absolve herself from all responsibility by terminating the child. The man has no say if he wants the child. He has no say if he wants the child, no legal recourse whatsoever to essentially take the child, like you guys were talking about. If he wants the child, he can't even just say, look, I will take the child from you. And at the same time, he can't cut bait either. He's trapped one way or the other to the whims of this woman. You want to take this call?
Sure.
Okay. Hello, caller.
Hello.
What's on your mind, brother?
Well, I'm listening to you, and what comes to mind is that that too is a matter of economics and resources, because of course it's an unfair balance, because the woman has to carry the child, and the woman has to bear the child.
Right.
So, but then after the woman carries the child and bears the child, then at that point, a man does have rights. And I know several people that have resources that at that point in time have been able to prove to the court that the child would be better off with them. I should have said I know several men.
Right.
That says that, that the child would be better off with them, and they raise their child.
In what state?
In I'll go further than just the state. I'll say in the city in which you're in right now, Gary, Indiana.
Gary?
Because, for example, in California, the de facto position is joint custody. In order for the man to get sole custody, or actually for either parent to get sole custody, that other parent, practically speaking, has to be on trial for murder.
Wow.
Well, and I'm glad you used that word, practically speaking, because, practically speaking, if I go to court with a good attorney and she goes to court with no attorney, then practically speaking, I'm going to win.
Maybe in the state of Indiana.
Well,
I
don't just mean the state of Indiana, because I think the state of Indiana is one of the more conservative states. But I want to ask you guys this
I'm
question.
telling you, I know in California, the de facto position, and in most states, the de facto position is joint custody. So in order for you to get sole custody, even if you got the guy with the best attorney in the world and she represents herself, the court is going to start at joint custody. Now, it might decide to let the child primarily live with the father, but it's still going to be joint custody. They have to share custody.
Well, I don't doubt what you're saying, but I also know that what I'm saying is a fact. And the other thing I wanted to ask you guys is this, and it's not that this is not either agreeing or disagreeing with the law, but the law is a little bit more than just having to do with a person wanting to raise their child.
Yeah.
Because what they're saying is that if a man rapes a woman, and then that woman then that woman has to have that child, and if that woman doesn't have that child, he can sue her.
Is that true?
That's the law.
Wow.
That's the law that you all are speaking of now.
That's an interpretation of the law.
No.
Yeah.
Did you read the law?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so if you read the law,
in fact, that's an interpretation that's an interpretation that President Biden is leaning heavily into, because he keeps mentioning about it doesn't even make an exception for rape or incest.
Right.
Okay, well, I wasn't basing it on that. I'm just basing it on what the bill in that law actually says, because it says that any person that has any part in even taking the woman to have a procedure can be sued.
Once there's a heartbeat.
Any person. So that would include a rapist.
Right. Now, here's the thing, though. Right now, the technology exists. The medical technology exists. Let's say a woman gets raped. The medical technology exists to give her a pill that night. She takes that pill.
Now, Reverend, you see what you're doing is you're going past just the law,
because the law only applies once there's a heartbeat.
Well, no, well, in 6 weeks, is there a heartbeat?
Well, in fact, the law doesn't say 6 weeks. 6 weeks. It says
no.
It says heartbeat.
Yeah, and no, it's you read it?
Yeah, it
says
once there's a heartbeat, you cannot abort the child.
It says 6 weeks, and it also says heartbeat, and usually just what you guys said a few minutes ago, women don't even know that they're pregnant within that period of time.
Right.
So I'm just saying that I'm not saying that it is a very complicated, and it seems to be an unfair situation, for men. It does seem to be, but I'm just saying the law. In other words, what I'm saying is that what you're saying can be correct, but the reason that they're putting these things into effect, that doesn't have to be correct. That could just be power.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, we have the phone lines are blowing up. I want to thank you, brother, for calling, because you enlightened me again. Like I've gone back and forth on this issue so much. Please don't hesitate to call in the future. You always have very rational and logical opinions on issues, and I'm so glad to have you as a caller here. But we got to go to this next caller.